Hey y'all, just got back from the grocery store, shopping for this week's meal prepping for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's take a look at the provisions. Here are our provisions for the week. For breakfast, we will have shredded wheat cereal bowl, and I picked this one specifically because it has the whole grain symbol with bananas, berries, and almond milk. And just in case we don't get to make breakfast, here's our backup, Go Macro bars. And then for lunch, we will have some black bean soup that is made in a crock pot. And that will be accompanied with salad, a very simple one with my favorite vinaigrette ever is Bragg's Organic vinaigrette. And then for dinner, we will have baked chicken and roasted vegetables with quinoa. And our sauce will be a pesto almond cilantro sauce. And we have some cuties and leftover banana if we need a snack in the afternoon. Figuring out what to cook first, second, and third is essential to meal prepping. Since the Crockpot black bean soup is going to take 8 to 10 hours, let's start off with that. Let's put this Crockpot to work for our black bean soup. First, let's put in the diced onions, okay, and our red peppers, then our garlic, and our spices, cumin, red chili powder, oregano, and some salt. And just dump it in there. And our dry black beans. And lastly, 6 cups of chicken broth. There we go. And we'll stir that up gently with a nice ladle. So all the flavors are incorporated and mixed in together with that powder. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, and let's set this for about 8 to 10 hours on low heat. What I like about this recipe is that you can put all the ingredients in one pot, and it saves time because it all has the same cooking time. I'm a big fan of the Crockpot as a kitchen appliance, so if you don't have one, please consider getting one. And in the meantime, you can enjoy your day or prep for other meals like the baked chicken. We have 4 pieces of chicken breast totaling to about 3 pounds, and they're relatively the same thickness. And that is really helpful so that they'll cook evenly. We also have olive oil for moisture and a little bit of flavor. Also the salt and pepper. And lastly, for additional flavor, we have the paprika, onion, and garlic powder. Let's season this chicken. Olive oil. Then we'll have the salt. Some pepper. I've already freshly cracked this pepper. Okay. Garlic powder. Oh, that's a lot of garlic powder, but it'll be okay. Onion powder. And lastly, the paprika. Okay, and we will do the same for the other side. Now take the saran wrap and cover it like this, kind of just patting the wrap down and around the chicken breast. So when it's in the refrigerator, it doesn't lose its moisture. So you're locking it in this way. It's about an hour before dinner time. So let's get started on our cilantro lime pesto and roasted veggies. Olive oil, lime juice, our cotija cheese that is very stinky and salty, so we don't need that much salt. Slivered almonds. Okay. We have our salt and pepper, 1 clove of garlic, and our loosely packed cilantro. You don't have to worry that, you know, you're not pulling off the leaves off the stalks. They are totally fine, and they will wilt down and grind down in this little tiny food processor that I have. Okay, let's cover it and grind. That looks great. And voila, here's our Mexican-inspired pesto. As you can see, it's really helpful to have a food processor for meal prepping. And plus this 15.5 by 21.5 baking sheet. We will be cutting our zucchini, red peppers, red onions, and carrots into similar sizes, and we will roast them. Arranging your chopped vegetables for roasting is essential so that you can have evenly cooked vegetables. Now you can start off with the center, which is going to take the least time to cook, and move yourself outwards to the perimeter of the sheet pan, which is going to take the most time to cook. So our red peppers in the center, then the zucchini, then the red onions, and then the carrots. Did you know the hottest part of the oven? Well, according to PJ Hamill, a baker from King Arthur Flour, it's on the top, the bottom, the sides, and the back of your oven. Before we pop our veggies into a 450-degree preheated oven, let's spray them with a little bit of olive oil. All right, y'all, we're ready to roast our vegetables. Let's open up the oven, take the veggies, and put them on the second bottom rack from the bottom. And then leave the second from the top rack, and that's for our baked chicken. Close the door, and we'll put the timer on for 35 minutes. 10 minutes have lapsed, and that makes 25 minutes left of cooking time, and that is the exact amount of time this baked chicken needs to cook evenly. Let's pop it in the oven. Our baked chicken is on the second from the top rack, and our veggies are second from the bottom, and you can see the steam coming off of the veggies, and that should impart some more moisture to the chicken. As you can see, meal prepping is all about time management and maximizing efficiency. Like any new skill, it takes practice, but it's definitely worth it in the end. While we have our chicken and our veggies roasting, let's get started on our whole grains. Quinoa. Chicken and veggies are roasting. This is 4.5 cups of water boiling, 2.25 cup of dry quinoa, putting in the pot. And we will grab our fork and stir. The cooking ratio for quinoa is 2 parts water to 1 part quinoa. We're going to let this come to a boil, and when it does, we'll lower down the heat to medium-low and cover and cook for 15 minutes. You know what that means. The full roasting time is up. Oh my gosh. That looks so amazing in there. I'll take out the chicken and let it rest for 5 minutes and do the same for the veggies. Our chicken has set and our quinoa is ready, and our roasted vegetables are tossed with olive oil. You can add some additional herbs if you'd like. This chicken has been resting for about 5 minutes, and I've cut it in half, and I just wanted to show you how juicy this is. Amazing, right? And this is 4 ounces and this is 5 ounces. Now it's time to plate our Mexican-inspired dinner. First, let's start off with our roasted vegetables. This is 1 cup. And as you can see, it's filling up half the plate. The plate is about 10 inches, but the actual food area is 8 inches diameter. We'll add our whole grains, which in this case is our quinoa. All right, and as you can see, it is filling up more than 1/4 of the plate. And then lastly, here is a 4 to 5 ounce piece of chicken breast that we baked. And that is kind of like, you know, less than 1/4 of a plate. And here is a tablespoon of our Mexican-inspired pesto that we can put on the chicken right there. And there you have it, folks, a perfectly balanced dinner. 1 cup of roasted vegetables equals 1 serving of veggies. Half a cup of quinoa equals 1 serving of whole grains. 4 to 6 ounces of protein or roasted chicken is 1 serving of protein. And lastly, for our healthy fats, we have a tablespoon of our Mexican-inspired pesto filled with good fats and dairy. Now that we have dinner figured out, let's work on our lunch. All right, y'all, this is our black bean soup that we made in the crock pot yesterday. It had some time to sleep overnight, so it's extra yummy today. I've popped it back on low for about 45 minutes, and it's the perfect temperature for an entree serving of soup for lunch. All right, y'all, let's get started on our simple salad. Grab a small mixing bowl. I use the Bragg's organic vinaigrette. This is my favorite because the calories are only 80 for 2 tablespoons. And other dressings out there are about 150 on average. Also, it has little added sugars. And thirdly, the ingredients list, we have organic extra virgin olive oil as the first ingredient. I've seen a lot of different dressings out there, and most of them on the shelves are made with canola oil. So this is definitely a quality product. I use 2 tablespoons of this. Okay, 1, 2, and this already has onions in it, so you do not need to cut onions and cry yourself out. Great. And then when I build my salads, I add the vegetables that could use a little bit more flavor. That might be bland, so I add that next. Our tomatoes, let's kind of give it a little stir. Great. And then we'll add 1 serving of our whole grains, which is our quinoa, left over from meal prepping. For some more protein, we'll add our almonds, and this is 2 tablespoons. And then for our greens, this is 2 cups, and it's 1 serving when it's loose greens. And I tend to put this last on the salads so that it doesn't wilt as easily. All right, let's grab our tongs and toss. Like I said, this is a simple salad. There is very little involved to make it. The 15 pieces of grape tomatoes were the only ones that were halved. The almonds were already slivered. The quinoa was cooked the night before, and they're leftovers for today. And lastly, our greens. They're already pre-washed, so we didn't have to do any of that. And as far as flavor, the beautiful dressing that we have took care of all of that. And we'll put it to the side so that the dressing can work its magic. Let's ladle in our Crockpot black bean soup. For an entree size, we need 1.5 cups. So my ladle is 1/2 cup each. And I will ladle it 3 times to get our lunch serving. Ooh, smells so delicious. I can smell all the spices and the beans, the warmness. You can smell it as well. This soup is very rich in protein. There we go, we got our 3rd. Wonderful. Let's put it on this plate. We'll add our leftover cotija cheese for a little bit more protein, vitamin D, calcium. Some garnish with our cilantro. Beautiful. And let's plate our simple salad with this beautiful, delicious soup right there. Okay. Lovely, lovely. Right, awesome. As you can tell, there's a lot of salad for 2 cups. All right, and we have some cracked pepper here that we can just shake on this salad. Meet your vibrant and balanced lunch plate. It is colorful, but it may not look like it's balanced because you're not sure where the protein is. Let's look at that more closely. About half the plate are veggies. I know tomatoes are fruits, but for this instance, let's just put them in this category. That makes 2 servings of veg, 1 from the greens and 1 from the tomatoes. Second, we have an entree portion of our black bean soup at 1.5 cups. This soup is where the bulk of the protein comes from, roughly 23 grams. Then we have quinoa at 8 grams, almonds at 3, and the greens at 1.5 grams. All this goodness totals to about 32 grams of protein. That's only 3 grams away from a 4-ounce chicken breast. Lastly, we have these 2 clementines on the plate, and that adds another serving of fruit. This is optional if you're too full, so save it for a snack when you feel the slump. And there you have it, your hot and cold balanced lunch. Good morning, y'all. Let's not forget the most important meal of the day, breakfast. This meal has its importance because it sets the tone, so we can be more mindful of our choices for the rest of the day. Let's make our shredded wheat cereal bowl. First, we'll add the almond milk. That's 1 cup. And then we will add our sliced bananas. And this will create like a base on the bottom for our shredded wheat, so it doesn't get soggy so quickly. Wonderful. And we'll take 2 of these guys, just break them apart, lay them on there like little islands. And 2 is, like I said, the serving size. Okay. And we'll top it off with some blueberries here. And some raspberries. And just so it's evenly distributed, add more of that. And our raspberries. What makes this a balanced breakfast is the 1 cup of berries and 1 medium-sized banana. That makes 2 servings of fruits. Then we have the 2 pieces of shredded wheat. That is 1 serving of whole grain. Then as far as our dairy is concerned, we have the almond milk, which is plant-based, but it does have the same amount of calcium and vitamin D as a glass of milk. Now, if you wanted to add more protein to this, you sure can. We have some slivered almonds left over, so we can use 2 tablespoons of that. There you have it, breakfast of champions.